Do you want to be successful? Then whatever you do, don't do it like me. Part 1. You were born a genius, and how you damn well quickly forget it. Do you still remember the time when you woke up in the morning and your first thought wasn't, oh God, how am I going to pay the bills today? But simply, awesome, a new day, what can I get up to today? I bet you've forgotten, but don't worry, I am here to remind you of exactly that. Let's go back, straight to the beginning, to the first 15 years of my life. Looking back at that time today always makes me smile. I was the undisputed king of spontaneity, a walking bundle of energy and, to be completely honest, cheeky as hell, but with a heart as big as a family home. While adults tried to explain to me how the world supposedly works, I had my very own cosmic navigation system, my inner voice, my heart, my gut feeling. I simply didn't listen to anyone. And you know what? It was the best time of my life. The Littermilk Guru and the Secret of Freedom. My parents had to toil every single day. They were away a lot, so we grew up with our grandparents. Let's be honest, as a child, you get way more freedom at your grandparents' place anyway, right? Grandma and Grandpa aren't as strict with their scolding. They still let you truly feel life. I was a permanent guest at both of my grandma's houses during my preschool years, and there I had a very specific daily job. I was the official milk courier of the house. Every single day, I had to walk on foot across the entire village to fetch a 1-liter glass bottle of milk. Bringing the empty bottle there, carrying the full bottle back. It didn't matter at all if the sun was scorching or the rain was whipping against my face. I set off. Nobody else in the family wanted that job. For me, however, it was the greatest gift, even though I didn't grasp it that rationally back then. Because this task belonged to me, I had time. Endless time. Nobody controlled me. Nobody rushed me. I was completely free of pressure and entirely alone with myself on the road. Today, people pay thousands of dollars for mindfulness retreats and silent walks just to clear their heads for 2 hours. I had my spiritual retreat every day for the price of a bottle of milk. On those paths, I learned to truly see nature. I would stop to watch ants. I watched raindrops roll off leaves. I discovered the magic in the smallest insects and plants. My mind was free from external thoughts, free from external opinions. I thought my own thoughts. I was one with the world. The universe spoke directly to me, entirely without words. Tears of the soul, a premonition of eternity. There was this one thing about me that was perhaps a bit unusual for a cheeky boy. When I hadn't seen my grandma or grandpa for a while and could finally hug them again, something strange happened. Tears instantly shot into my eyes. The tears just flowed all by themselves, without me being sad. I am certain that deep down inside, in the deepest layers of my soul, I already knew something back then that my mind couldn't even comprehend yet. I knew that our time together on this earth is limited. I knew I wouldn't have enough time with them. Isn't it the same for you, if you're being honest? Looking back today and remembering, did we ever spend enough time with our grandparents? No. In hindsight, it always feels too short. But as a child, I was so close to my soul that my body expressed this knowledge through tears. I was infinitely aware of the moment and the value of these people. My heart was wide, wide open. The prison called the classroom. Then, at 7 years old, came the first big shock of life, school. Suddenly, it was all about sit still, shut up, obey. That was absolutely not my thing. I downright loathed these quiet lessons controlled by strict teachers. My spirit wanted to fly, my body wanted to run. That's why I never wasted time studying. Why should I? Real life was waiting outside. The moment the bell rang, I was gone. I was constantly out and about, for hours alone in the rain, on the playground, or on the football pitch. I had to move to keep the divine energy flowing inside me. From the 5th grade onwards, it got even worse, or so I thought. More subjects, more pressure. But then something magical happened. I got history class. The history teacher was an older man close to retirement. This man was no ordinary teacher. He was a traveling magician of words. He almost always read from his own handwritten notes. But how he did it? He put his whole soul, his whole heart into these stories. When he spoke of ancient cultures, wars, or explorers, it wasn't dry material to me. I was there live. I stood right in the middle of the action. I could have listened to him all day. A school lesson lasted 45 minutes, but in his class, it felt like 4.5 minutes. That's when I realized when someone does something with genuine passion and from the heart, they suspend time. That is pure spirituality in everyday life. By the way, I also found math great. I enjoyed logic. You didn't have to talk much there. But everything else? Subjects where you were supposed to sit down at home and mindlessly read some text for an hour or two? Unbearable. My inner compass practically screamed at me, hey, there is so much to do out there, so much to discover, so much to experience, and I'm supposed to sit in here and flip these boring pages? And do you know what the best part was? Even though I barely ever studied or read, I was still always among the top 3 or top 4 students in the class. Why? Because my mind was wide awake through my freedom. I didn't need to cram. I simply absorbed life. Look at yourself. You started as a masterpiece. I don't want to lecture you in this first chapter. I don't want to give you clever tips on how to optimize your life or how you need to meditate to achieve enlightenment. I simply want to remind you of something you lost somewhere on the road to growing up. Somewhere between tax returns, social media, overtime, and your boss's expectations. You were born perfect. Nature, the universe, God, the source, call it what you want. But when you came into this world, you didn't have a single malfunction. You were free of self-doubt, free of complexes, and full of primal trust. You observed nature without judging it. You felt when people mattered to you, and you cried when the love became too big. You listened to your heart and not to life's curriculum. Many children in my village wanted to live exactly like me, free, spontaneous, happy, in their own rhythm. But they couldn't because their parents and teachers told them from a very early age how they were supposed to be. Sit still. Stop dreaming. Conform. Make sure you learn what's in the book. They were domesticated. Their divine factory setting was overwritten. Just don't do it like my later self. You started to believe that you are only valuable if you function like a machine and spend hours doing things that your heart actually loathes. In the next chapters, I am going to tell you in meticulous and unvarnished detail how, in the years that followed, I managed to completely and elegantly drive this perfect factory setting straight into a brick wall. Later on, I took pretty much every wrong turn you can possibly take. I listened to the wrong people, ignored my gut feeling, and thought I had to be particularly smart or conformist. That is exactly why you should definitely not copy me later on. But before we get to my grandiose, epic mistakes, close your eyes for a brief moment. Take a deep breath. And remember the child you once were, this cheeky, vibrant, rain-dancing, loving creature who watched the ants with a milk bottle in hand. This child is not gone. It is still in there. It is just waiting for you to finally stop wanting to be so damn grown up, sensible, and conformist.